You are now in tune to the most intriguing podcast in the universe. Hosted by the scientist Leon Marshall. Are you ready for Marshall's Melanin Podcast?
Listen, I am fully energized.
Class is in session.
You gonna learn today.
I found it really enlightening, like educational as well. There were a lot of things I didn't know, especially with melanin and like all the benefits of melanin. So I found that very interesting.
I love it. There's so much information, you know, it's entertaining and it's just facts after facts after facts.
This is the podcast where science is made simple and learning is fun. Welcome to Marshall's Melanin Podcast. Now, here's your host, the scientist Leon Marshall.
Yo, Marshall!
Yes. Welcome, family. My name is Leon Marshall, and you're tuned into Marshall's Melanin Podcast. Big up everyone who's tuned in right now. Family, put some ones in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me clearly. And let me know where you're tuned in from. Sounding good? Big up everyone in the chat. Big up Canada in the building. South London in the building. Large up everyone who's tuned in right now. You're in for a good one tonight. We're going to be talking about the works of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Large up Blackburn, Hertfordshire in the building. We're going to be talking about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and what she believes is their greatest fear. All will be revealed. Now, I've created this podcast so we can all truly understand melanin once and for all. What it is and how it works. We must change the narrative around melanin if we're ever going to understand it. Changing the narrative means we need to change the language, change the way we talk about and describe melanin scientifically. And that change happens right now. So let's go.
I've been to quite a few and I've heard Leon talk at other events, and as usual you do come away learning something.
Listen, I am fully energized.
That is brilliant. It's just so informative, mind-blowing. It's something that, you know, it's just put me on a journey of knowing thyself. It's just fantastic.
All right, family. So every time we talk about this type of subject, I always reference two books. Yeah, the two books that I always reference is the ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors by the great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And I also reference her mentor. A lot of people who know about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, a lot of people do not know that her mentor was an ancestor called Neely Fuller Jr. And Neely Fuller Jr. wrote the book, The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. So those are the two books I'm going to be referencing, but mainly I'm going to be talking about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing tonight because she was the one that initially, she was the one who was talking about their greatest fear. And when she mentioned their greatest fear, she was talking about who I call the usual suspects, or who Neely Fuller calls racist man and racist woman, or the suspected white supremacists. He says that their greatest fear is genetic annihilation. Yeah. And how though? Why would that be their greatest fear? What is it about us that they believe could wipe them out? Literally wipe them out. And according to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, it is the elephant in the room. When it comes onto this subject, elephant in the room, as always, is melanin. So according to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, the elephant in the room is melanin, and it's because of this that they fear that especially the black man could wipe them off of this planet. Let's listen to the great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing in her own words. What is it about melanin that they fear so much?
If Mr. Black and Mr. White live next door to each other, they have the same job, the same income, the same car, the same furniture. Yes. They both walk out of the house in the morning. Good morning, Mr. Black. Good morning, Mr. White. But Mr. White is still looking, but you've got something that I don't have.
You're saying he's saying that
He's
subconsciously.
saying, right.
Now, wait a minute. All right, we'll give you a chance in just a moment.
In reality, white skin is a genetic recessive status, not as said by Francis Welsing. Even though the white population says that people of color are minorities, you're genetically inferior because you are non-white. That it is the white population that is the minority. The minority on the planet.
That's the reality you're saying.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
That in spite of the fact that black people, non-white people have heard over and over again.
Meaning that if you and I were to have a baby, the baby would have color, and you make the contribution and I don't.
That white
So
plus
what?
colored, well, wait a minute. It's not Francis Welsing that is concerned about the disappearance of white. There have been multiple articles in the newspaper talking about the decline of Western populations.
Here, incidentally, this was the percentage of the West's population in 1900, the turn of this century, about 30%. This is where we'll be less than 10% in the year 2075. Here's where we are about today, 15. So we're not having babies.
So whites are not having babies, and there is the concern about white genetic annihilation. In other words, I look at, this is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday holiday, and people will say, well, here's a man who talked about love. Why was he killed? And I say that the deeper logic is, what if all black and white people and non-white people and white people love? What would happen to white people? White would disappear. You see, just mix all of the people on the planet up
In other words,
together.
if race didn't matter, or if color didn't matter, it follows with the jet plane.
No, I'm not saying if it didn't matter. I'm saying that indeed if there was a mingling, if we mixed all of the people presently on the planet, stirred them up,
The white freckle-faced people
white
would be gone.
Genetic recessive status would disappear because we have the greatest genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation.
Because you're the black.
Because
the most color.
Right, we have this ability to produce melanin pigment.
Phil Donahue said, because you're the blackest. Who remembers this interview? Like, if you know about this interview, this is when Dr. Francis Cress Welsing went on the Phil Donahue show. Family, tell me what year this was. What year was this?
The white freckle-faced people would be gone.
Genetic recessive status would disappear because we have the greatest genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation.
Because you're the black.
Because
the most color.
Right, we have this ability to produce melanin pigment. We have more of it than anybody else. And so the most pressure is on black people.
Wow. Powerful. Was it in the 80s? Was it in the 80s or the 70s? Must be the, 80s, yeah? Yeah, I'm thinking it's the 80s. In the 80s, yeah, this is why Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, we bow to you. She was so ahead of her time. She was talking about this in the 80s, yeah? And she was talking about the decline in their birth rates in the 80s. I'm going to show you some statistics of what's going on today. But she was talking this in the 70s and 80s. Listen.
Black people have the greatest genetic potential to produce the black pigment melanin, which gives all.
And this was obviously a later video. So this one might have been in the 90s or even later. But notice that she's saying exactly the same thing. So she was very, very consistent with her messaging from the beginning to the end.
Black people have the greatest genetic potential to produce the black pigment melanin, which gives all skin color. And since we have the greatest, the highest level of genetically determined ability to produce this pigment that can cause white genetic annihilation, and it's only males who can impose sexual intercourse. And so the focus consciously, subconsciously has to zero in on the males. This is why I say that understanding, I'm not talking about institutional racism, I'm talking about a total system construct that develops out of certain patterns of thinking on the part of people who classify themselves as white.
Look at that. But she was saying this in the 80s. Marcia saying it was 1988. Yeah, so in the 70s and 80s, 90s, 2000s, and all the way up until she transitioned, she was stating this fact, yeah? Saying that this is their greatest fear, yeah, when it comes on to melanin and that sort of stuff. This is their greatest fear. She says in the ISIS papers, this is the reason why they created the system, what Neely Fuller calls the system of white supremacy. This is the reason why they created it, because of this fear, yeah? Now, is there any evidence of this? Let me show you this. This is from America. Obviously, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she was for those of you who don't know, she was an American psychiatrist. Yeah, so she studied this stuff. It weren't just her opinion. She properly studied this stuff. She was an American psychiatrist. This is what she used to talk about in universities, colleges, all over America. But she was talking about their decline in birth rates from way back then. Let's just see some comparisons. So this is the white population percentage changes in major US cities from 1950 versus 2025. Yeah. So let's just look at what's been happening. Let's just look at what's been happening since the 1950s. Yeah. So in New York City, the white population were around 90%, and that was in 1950, and then in 2025 it's gone down to 30%. In Dallas they were 83%, it's gone down to 27%. In Chicago 86%, gone down to 31%. Miami 92%, gone down to 12%. And LA 93%, gone down to 24%. All right, that's America. What about over here, family? Has there been the same or similar effect in the UK? Check this out. So, UK census from 1951, 99.9% of people in the UK were quote unquote white. And in 2025, that's gone down to 52.6% white British. And we got to be careful with these terms, because what was white back in 1951? Because, you know, white has changed over time. You know what I mean? There was ethnic whites like Irish that they didn't even consider white. So what was white and what do they consider white now? Either way, their numbers have gone down considerably, yeah? And people online are starting to take note of this, yeah? So there's people online, white people, who are putting out videos to kind of trigger white people to realize that their numbers are declining, yeah? So here's one of them, where this guy is online and he's just putting out these types of videos to kind of trigger white people to know that, hey man, this thing is serious. We need to take note of this. Our numbers are declining. Check this out.
What percent of the world's population is white?
60%.
55.
40, 30. 40%. 30, 40. 35%.
32.
35%.
60.
50. 30.
55.
17.
20%. 30.
25
to 30%.
7? I don't even know.
She was actually right.
What?
7%.
There you go. 7?
7 to 12%, but 7 is the most recent estimate.
What is it, 8 or 9%?
Yeah.
Something like that. Isn't it like 10% or something like that?
It's quite, yeah, 7 to 12%. Nice. You're one of the few to actually get it right. Well done, bro.
60%. Come on, guys. We are, if people don't know, white people are a minority. It might seem like we're everywhere when you're in a white country, but if you ever leave these countries, you'll see how few of us there are. To give you a perspective, there are more Indians than all white people combined. And it's not really close. There are 400 million more Indians than all the white people in the world. And that's just India. That's one group of people. Never mind the Chinese, never mind all of Asia. Africa, Nigeria has 230 million people, which is like a quarter of all white people. And that's one country in Africa.
So this guy, he's online, he does videos like this where he's just trying to trigger white people to realize that there's this, what they call the great replacement theory. Yeah, they believe that they're being replaced and they believe it's strategic. But here's the thing. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing was warning or just telling us about this from like the 1970s and saying this is what's happening and this is their greatest fear, genetic annihilation. But she was saying it's due to melanin. Now, family, I want you guys to chime in on this. You see those numbers that I showed from like 1950 to 2025. Is that just because of us? Someone put in the chat other reasons why their numbers could be dwindling. Some people put in the chat other reasons why their numbers could be dwindling. And just think about that whilst I show you this video.
Do you think this is a good thing? Do we need to diversify the countryside?
I think absolutely. It's been white for far too long. And
it's been white for far too long. Look at the demographics of this. This is in England. So you have 2 black people, 1 white person, and the black guy who's getting interviewed is saying the countryside is too white. It's been white for far too long. Does nobody see a problem with this? Imagine this was in Nigeria. There was 1 black dude, there was 2 white people, and the white person was saying Nigeria's countryside has been black too long. How did we get to this stage? The biggest issue is that people don't see a problem with this. I could never get away with that kind of rhetoric in another country. To go to the Congo and complain it's too black. To go to Japan, complain there's too many Japanese. There's too many Japanese people in the Japanese countryside. There needs to be more of me. What they're showing on TV when they say it's too white, that is genocidal language. It's the exact same if you're a liberal. Imagine the Israelis were looking at Palestine and saying there's too many Palestinians in there. We need more Israelis. Do you think that's fair? Imagine Nigeria was 99% Nigerian. 5 years pass, it's 95%. Another 5 years pass, 90%. Another 5 years, 85, 80, 75, 70%. And then the people coming in started talking the way this man's talking on air. It was promoted. I went around and I started saying there's too many Nigerians, too many black people. That village over there is full of Nigerians. That needs to change. That is genocidal language, and that's allowed to spread in Europe.
That is funny. That is funny. And it sounds logical when he's saying it. Like, I can't go to Nigeria and talk about there's too many black people here. We need diversity and that sort of stuff. However, what he doesn't realize is you guys are not originally from Great Britain. You guys are not even originally from England. You go back, and this is not even us. This is your European scientists talking about Cheddar Man and the fact that there were black people originally here. So this ain't even originally your land for you to say, this is a white man's land. It's not even originally your land. If anything, you guys tell us where you originally come from, because you don't originally come from England. You don't originally come from Australia, even though you guys are all up in Australia. You don't originally come from these places to turn around and say that it's your country. So even though what he was saying, it was funny, it doesn't kind of make sense. Unfortunately, he doesn't know the history. He doesn't know that the original Vikings were black. He doesn't know that the original Scottish were black. Do you get what I'm saying? Got to know your history, man. You got to know your history. That being said, though, he's not the only one that talks about this online, but he does it in a way where he's trying to trigger white people to show them, we are the superior race. Come on, white people, get agitated about this, get angry about this. Because that's one thing that Neely Fuller Jr. and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talk about, how they call it the system of white supremacy because they're trying to project that they are supreme. They're trying to project. In other words, they know they're not, but they try to project that they're supreme. So they created this system of white supremacy to dominate and mistreat people of color. But even even white people can see through that these days. So there's white people online and they see through it. So this chick that I'm about to show you, she's kind of saying to those people who believe in that white supremacy ideology, if you're talking about supremacy, don't be talking about whiteness. It can't be whiteness. It can't be white skin. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Always makes me laugh when people pull out biological arguments for white supremacy when our genes are recessive. Like if I were to have children with any person with any amount of melanin, brown, black skin, it doesn't matter. My genes are recessive. Same with my eye color, my green eyes. Even as far back on both sides of my family, they have brown eyes for white people. I just happen to be some sort of glitch and my dad happened to be a glitch. And it's so funny to me because it's like, why are you gonna sit here and say, oh, our genes are so much better? I can't even go in the fucking sun. My skin turns bright pink, bright red every time I go outside. Can my eyes take any sort of sunlight at all? Like I need sunglasses 24/7. So when I wear my glasses outside, it's actually a problem because I have to choose between wearing contacts and my eyes being uncomfortable or wearing sunglasses to protect my eyes. So no, it is not an inherently supremacist or superior traits that we have. If we're going to go that route, we are going to lose because if anything, it's the genes that can withstand the sun and the heat and that those genes will get passed on in subsequent generations, which there's no guarantee that mine will. I think we are all human beings. We are all equal. But if you're going to pull out the supremacist superior argument, it's not white skin. It is not white skin. Just pull out a Punnett square, babe.
And that's just young people, Gen Z or Gen X, whatever they call it. That's just young people putting two and two together. They can see through this white supremacy ideology. However, there are some that are still trying to do their part. So this lady on the right, she's like, had another white baby to help my race not go extinct. Well, do your part, man. Do your part. Because a lot of them, unfortunately, believe in this great replacement theory, yeah? That they feel like they're being replaced, yeah? So this guy on the left, he's a suspected white supremacist. Listen to what he says about this thing they call the great replacement theory.
The ultimate dispossession of whites. It will come culturally, politically, artistically, musically, demographically. You are describing the very thing that you would probably never permit or never countenance if we were discussing some non-white country. Imagine whites or any other non-Mexican group were pouring into Mexico, more likely to commit crimes, more likely to go on welfare, demanding ballot papers in English. Hold on, let me finish.
I would never... So he starts going in like saying that we can't do this in other countries. Again, you don't know your history. If you just tell me a country where you originate. That's all I want to know. Anyone, tell me a country where they originated there, not they came there and killed all the people, took their identity, then 2 Tuesday turn around and say it's a white country. No, tell me where you originate from. That's what I want to know. I'm curious. Where do you originate from? Yeah. And that's in America. But over here, it's just as bad. Over here, they hate the way, quote unquote, Great Britain looks. Do you understand? They hate the way Great Britain's starting to look. So listen to this. This is from Great British News. Listen.
There is not a single white British child in 72 schools across England. In 454 schools, white British children make up less than 2% of the student body. White British children are also now a minority in 1 in 4 schools. That is data from the Department of Education reported by The Telegraph. I strongly believe this is indirect social engineering on a national scale. Tell me this, how does any country expect assimilation, let alone a shared culture, when thousands of children grow up in classrooms where white British identity is the exception, not the norm? Will there be a White History Month to help with these minority children to feel included? Will there be DEI initiatives to give them a leg up? Of course not. They're the wrong kind of minority, aren't they?
Oh, gosh. So, yeah, a lot of people are angry at the way Great Britain, the UK is starting to look. They don't like all of these black faces, brown face. They just don't like the look of the UK now, because to them, the UK is supposed to be white. To them, like in 1950s, the UK is supposed to be 99.99999% white. Yeah. Now I'm gonna show you this clip. Now this made me laugh when I saw it online. Yeah, because this is just a young person at Leicester University. This is just young people at Leicester University. They're just doing a video. That same white dude that I showed one of his reels earlier, he comments on this video. Now just look. This is a lecture theatre at Leicester University. Just look around, first of all, before I play the video. Yeah? Just look around. Leicester University. Now, for some strange reason, this guy had an issue with this video. Now, this chick here, she's just going to be asking the students, can you find love in Leicester or something like that? Listen.
Do you think you'll find love in Leicester?
Absolutely not. This place is unserious as hell, bro.
Impossible.
This is crazy video.
Love and Leicester that don't go together. And that's a combination that don't make sense.
Look at the demographics. This is the UK.
This combination. Never.
Absolutely not. We've got two things on the side. They've got no. I'd never get with a guy in Leicester. Maybe depends on the side.
Just look at the back. Look around.
No, I'd never get with a guy in Leicester. Maybe depends. It depends.
Depends on what.
Insane that this is England.
They could be from Manny coming to Leicester. Like Leicester boys, no.
No, because Leicester isn't really the place to find love. I'll be real.
No, it's a myth. That's a myth, bro. Leicester, of all places, find love.
It's the same as if you went to Nigeria and all of a sudden you went into university and it was full of white kids. You'd seriously be like, what's going on here? Same in India. Imagine you went to a university in Delhi and it was just all white kids. What's mad is I was looking up the statistics of this college and white British students only make up 30%. And then it says ethnic minority students make up 60%. I'm like, when do they stop being a minority? They're 60% of this university, still considered the minority. You're watching colonization through immigration.
This guy complained about colonization. That's too funny. So he actually made this Instagram video go viral, yeah, because he posted it on his channel. It went viral. Look at the comments. So he put unprecedented demographic change. Look at the comments. This dude, he looks like a black dude, Arthur or whatever, it's probably a white dude. But he says, the worst part is they think they're British. And look how many likes and comments are underneath that. This guy says, England is over. England is over. Yeah? And this guy says, colonizers complaining about colonization. That's funny. Yeah? And so, yeah, so he made this video go viral by just chatting about it. So I wanted to find out the original, this chick who posted it, because this is her video. I went on her page and it turns out, because when you look at the back, obviously it's all black students. It turns out this was an ACS meeting. ACS. Anyone who's gone university in the UK, put in the chat what ACS means, what it stands for. This was an ACS meeting, yeah? ACS stands for Afro-Caribbean Society, African Caribbean Society, yeah? So obviously, at ACS meeting, it's gonna look like this, yeah? So all of these people that were going mad when he posted this, oh my gosh, that's Leicester University. Where's the white people? Where's the white people? It's ACS. Every university's got an ACS, African Caribbean Society. Every university has an ACS. So if you go to an ACS event or ACS meeting, it's going to look like this, you fools. But this is their greatest fear. Like Dr. Cress Welsing says, this is their greatest fear. So can you imagine something like this, where you're just watching a video of just students talking about love in Leicester? They're going crazy, like looking at the background, like, how is that Leicester? Oh my gosh, absolutely having a fit. Yeah. And again, if you go by Dr. Cress Welsing, she'll say they fear melanin because they truly believe that melanin is the reason why this is happening. However, I ask you guys to think of other reasons other than us. What other reasons could be the reason why we're seeing a decline in the quote unquote white race? And big up Adrian in the chat. He said, the sun. Well, this is a clip by Dr. Yaki Awaken, and he says exactly the same thing.
Is it true that white people need us to survive?
Hell yeah. Without melanin, they can't survive. Matter of fact, if you look at the statistics, white people are dying right now. They are dying more than they're repopulating. And that's why so many black people are coming up missing. Notice they're getting all of these different type of melanin shots inside of them. They're trying to deal with the sun more right now with all of these heat rays and how the sun is heating up and all of the ultraviolet, infrared rays is coming from the sun. Man, white people are dying globally from skin cancer. The sun is beating they ass. I mean, literally especially in Israel. Look up the sun cancer epidemic in Israel. Man, the sun is whooping they ass.
They know that.
But they need melanin for the sun can charge them and make them supernatural like it does us. We are supernatural people. We are an eternal people. We really is. We are a reflection of God itself. And we can prove this through biology.
Now, if you understand what Dr. Yaki just said, that they need us. They actually need us. Even though if you read Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's book, it will seem like they hate us, they despise us. They actually need us because they need our melanin and that sort of stuff. And like Dr. Yaki says, they're actually struggling these days because of the sun. Now, the sun, he says the sun is getting hotter. I don't know if it is. Maybe it might be getting hotter. I doubt it though, because all of these chemtrails are blocking out the sun rays and that sort of stuff. So it's very hard for us to even get the proper sun rays because the chemtrails that they keep on pumping into the sky is actually blocking and refracting these sun rays. However, the fact that they're starting to struggle with the sun is the same reason why black people are starting to struggle with the sun. And it's not due to the sun. A lot of people are starting to struggle with the sun because of our diet, lifestyle, and all these sort of things. We're not consuming the foods that allow us to interact with the sun. But because their genetics, according to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, are recessive, if they start to eat the wrong foods, they're going to struggle in the sun more than we do. Yeah. So they are struggling now because everyone's food is messed up, vaccines, all of this sort of stuff. So they are struggling. And this is why I've said this in one of my previous lectures. Sometimes I believe the usual suspects, they shoot themselves in the foot because they'll do things to kind of finance themselves or to get them in a better position of power, like a pandemic. But it shoots themselves in the foot because now everyone's sick. And because their genetics are not as strong as ours, their people start dying all over the place. Do you understand? So you're there going mad with vaccines and viruses and all that sort of stuff. And you don't even realize you're affecting your own birth rates because now white people are struggling with regards to fertility, with the sun, all this sort of stuff, dying from all illnesses. Do you get what I'm saying? But they'll never say that. Again, during COVID, who did they say were more likely to die? They said black people. Black people were more likely to die. When you look at the statistics, a lot, 90% of the people who died in the UK were white. Do you understand? And then it makes you think because Yaki was saying they need us, they need our melanin. What's a way of getting our melanin? What's a way of getting our melanin? Obviously, like Yaki Awaken said, sometimes black people go missing and then tutus, when they're found, they've taken their organs and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Yaki said that. Yaki Awakened. Victoria said it in the chat. What's another way they can get melanin? Victoria said it in the chat. Having babies with us. So haven't you seen on TV, and this has been happening for quite a few years now, but haven't you seen on TV, when you see an advert, haven't you been seeing a lot of interracial adverts? It's like they're promoting it. Yeah? It's like they're promoting interracial. And notice, I don't know if this is just me, but have you noticed that when they do promote interracial relationships, it's usually a black woman with a white man? Is that just me? Am I the only one seeing that, or are you guys seeing it both ways? I'm seeing a lot of advertisements, interracial relationships, and it's usually a black woman with a white man.
I never really understood why they were pushing interracial marriages and couples so hard on TV and in the media until I see how after a couple of generations of interracial mixing, how the bloodline, that black bloodline, eventually gets erased. And that's when it started to make sense, because you hear how the white population is actually on the decline. And now I understand why they're pushing it, whether it's a black man with a non-black woman or a black woman with a non-black man. If those two come together and they make a mixed child, a very light-skinned child, and that child ends up with a non-black partner, then that black lineage is on the decline, slowly declining. And if they keep doing it with the generation after that and the generation after that, eventually that black lineage will be wiped out. And now it all makes sense.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And let me just make a disclaimer. I don't think there's any issues. Love who you want to love. I'm not saying interracial relationships are bad, but I know when it comes on to them promoting something, there's an agenda there. Yeah. So don't get misconstrued. I don't want anyone saying, oh yeah, Leon saying interracial relationships are bad. Love who you want to love. You can't help who you fall in love with. However, I can tell when there's an agenda. When they push it in all of these advertisements, I see it a lot, and some people in the chat saying they see it both ways. Yeah, I was seeing it both ways years ago, but very recently, I'd say the last couple of years, pretty much nearly every advert is a black woman and a white man. Yeah, and there's an agenda there. There is an agenda there. It's just like, you know, the alphabet community. Love who you want to love. I don't care. It's not, do what you want to do behind closed doors. Yeah, but when you start to see them promote it, the LGBT and all that sort of stuff in movies, TV shows, adverts, there's an agenda there. Yeah. But this, I'm seeing it everywhere. And check this out. This happened, I don't know if this was last year or a couple of years ago, but Heinz had to actually apologize for their adverts. Check this out. Heinz apologizes after new ad sparks backlash for promoting racist stereotypes. So just look at the image and check this out.
Heinz has had to apologize after facing backlash for this tube ad. It's been criticized for erasing black fathers. The ad promotes family-sized pasta sauces but shows the bride a black woman with no dad. Heinz promised to listen, learn and improve.
Look at that. So everyone was seeing this. They had this on the tube underground and that, and people were pointing it out and saying, oh, this looks a bit strange. Yeah. But again, everyone's missing the elephant in the room. Why is this such an issue? And the elephant in the room in a lot of these adverts is not just melanin, it's the black man. Yeah, it is the black man. Because again, if you listen to what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, she said it's the black man who has the genetic potential to wipe out the white race. It's the black man who has the genetic potential. In other words, their greatest fear is the elephant in the room. Their greatest fear is the elephant in the room. And if we're being honest, family, I'll take it one step further. I've shown this image before. But this is their greatest fear. This is their greatest fear. When we talk about the elephant in the room, this is the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. It is their greatest fear. And they don't like when people bring it up. And they don't like when white women go with black men because of this. They don't like it at all. So they don't like videos like this. This lady was on TikTok and she made this video. And it says, me figuring out how I'm going to give my kids good genes with these small lips, pasty skin, and little booty. Oh, they hate videos like this. They hate women like this. They hate it. They hate it. It gets them so angry. Gets them so angry. When, if we're being honest, a lot of white women, they're just being honest. Like you ask white women, what's your preference? And they'd say something like this.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, that's awesome. So for you, black guys or white guys?
Black guys.
Can you elaborate as to why specifically black guys?
Yes, black guys are melanated, and I want my children to survive. And I know that the only way for them to survive in the future is for them to have melanin in their skin. So that's the way for me to, make my legacy continue.
Okay, I like that answer. That's actually a really unique answer.
Oh my gosh, they hate women like this. They hate women like this. It gets them so angry. Yeah. This is what gets them so angry because, again, this is what kind of triggers their fear of genetic annihilation when the white women are going with the black men, and this is why they're going with them. They hate white women like this to the point where they've got a derogatory term. I'm not going to say it here, but they literally got a derogatory term for white women who do this and say things like this. Yeah. Oh, it gets them so angry. So angry. And that actually brings me on to something that came out quite recently. Family, who's seen the #1 documentary on Netflix called Inside the Manosphere? Did anyone watch this documentary by this guy called Louis Theroux? I think his name is Louis Theroux. Anyway, either way, it's the #1 film stroke documentary on Netflix, yeah? And for those of you who are not aware, because it is a bit of a young people thing, but yeah, the manosphere is basically the new generation of men saying we're not having it from society. We're not having it from what they call the Matrix. The Matrix is trying to keep men down, and women have all these rights and women don't take accountability and all that sort of stuff. So it's a lot of bravado. It's a lot of toxic masculinity and all that sort of stuff, and acting like, that guy, Andrew Tate, who seems to be probably the biggest in the manosphere. Anyway, Andrew Tate wasn't in the documentary. However, there was a black guy, he's mixed race, his dad's black, his mum's white. But there was this guy in the Netflix documentary, yeah? And his real name is Harrison Sullivan. And his name online is HS Tiki Toki. HS Tiki Toki. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's very interesting. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, a lot of people are going in on this guy, saying he's an absolute prick, and they've been going hard against this young guy. He's only 24 years old, for crying out loud. Yeah, and he's apparently he's a multi-millionaire and he does all these things, but he understands how to work social media. He says things that are outrageous, and he gets views, he gets clicks, he gets outrage, and he uses that to make money from, yeah? Now, why am I bringing up this mixed race guy and with regards to what we're talking about tonight? He very recently had a conversation with Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan brought him onto his show, and you know how Piers Morgan is. As you guys know, I say when it comes on to talking about racism and white supremacy on TV, they're the expert, yeah? Piers Morgan brought this young man on TV and he wanted to try and embarrass him. And how does he try and embarrass him? By taking something that he said in the documentary and just pushing it, just staying on that point. So listen to this. In the documentary, this young guy talks about how if he had a son who was gay, he'd disown him. So that's what Piers Morgan kind of jumps on, yeah? Listen.
Let me just ask you what you said in the documentary. You clearly actually would, by your own admission, disown a son who said they were gay. And yet your mother, you said, hates people that are racist, sexist, homophobic, and so on. Why be so brazenly homophobic if your own mother, who you clearly love and respect and care about, if she's so against that?
And I want you to see certain things, yeah? Because I know some people have watched The Manosphere, and he does act, you could argue he acts like a prick in the Manosphere documentary. But part of it, just from me watching this interview, part of me thinks he did it on purpose. Again, he says these outrageous things. He acts in an outrageous way because he knows what sort of reaction it's going to get. But I just want you to notice a couple things. If you've watched this interview, he stays very calm with Piers Morgan. Remember, Piers Morgan is the expert. Piers Morgan knows how to rile people up. This young guy who's only 24 stays very calm. However, I can tell when Piers kind of gets to him. Piers gets to him when he mentions his mother. You can see it in his eyes.
And respect and care about.
There.
If your own mother, who you clearly love and respect and care about, if she's so against...
When he nodded, he's saying, noted. Okay, that was a low blow. You're bringing my mother into it. Some of you know what happens next.
That. Why would you be so happy to be brazenly homophobic?
I wouldn't say I'm homophobic.
You would disown a child for being gay. That's about as homophobic as it gets.
That's your opinion, and in my opinion, that's not homophobic.
It's a fact of what homophobia is.
Okay.
What do you think homophobia is?
And basically, let me just say something, because I've said this before when we talk about racism and white supremacy. This is from Neely Fuller Jr.'s book. Remember, Neely Fuller is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's mentor. In Neely Fuller's book, close to the beginning of the book, he states this. He asks the question, who are the experts? Question, during the existence of white supremacy, which is racism, which persons are the only experts in knowing and understanding how white supremacy is practiced? Answer, those white people who practice white supremacy. Yeah? So according to Neely Fuller Jr., who is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's mentor, anytime you see white people on TV talking to black people about race or racism, who are the experts? These are the experts. Piers Morgan is an expert because he practices this system. Yeah? He practices it pretty much every time he does his show. He practices it. Yeah? And that's the reason why he stays in the question lane, because he knows as an expert, in order for you to control the conversation, you stay in the question lane. However, this young guy, who a lot of people think is dumb, I don't, he's not dumb. This young guy switches it on Piers Morgan and he goes into the question lane. Listen. And he actually embarrasses Piers Morgan.
We clearly have different beliefs. I don't care what your belief is. If you grow up,
well,
okay,
no, we don't actually.
We
both come from the same belief, which is we were brought up by mothers who did not share this view. So actually, we're very similar. It's just you've taken a weird turn where your mother, who hates homophobia, has got a son who actually thinks it's perfectly okay to say you would disown your own child, your own son, if they said they were gay. And
would you be happy if you raised your son and your son came out gay? Would you be?
See, he goes into straight question mode. I'm not even going to answer that. I'm going to switch it on you. Goes into question mode.
If they said they were gay. And
would you be happy if you raised your son and your son came out gay? Would you be happy, Piers? Would you be happy, Piers, if you had one child, one son?
Care less.
You wouldn't care?
No.
Okay, then that's your beliefs. Me and you have totally different beliefs.
Yeah, but the only thing
I know that you're trying to double down on this point.
Yeah, but Harrison, why do you think your belief does not constitute homophobia?
Piers, we can all have a push and a shove. You might not agree with some of my points. I don't agree with some things that you do and the way that you act.
That's fine.
And I don't need to go into them. But if you want me to, and you want this to turn into something that it doesn't need to be, then we can all have a push and a shove.
And by the way, family, that was a warning shot. This guy who everyone thinks is dumb, he just gave Piers a warning shot when he said that. He said, we can all have a push and a shove. In other words, I'm not the only one who's got things that you don't want people talking about on TV. He's like, we can all have a push and a shove, bruv. Just leave it out. But Piers Morgan, being the expert, he keeps on pushing.
I'm genuinely interested in how you felt this Netflix show went and the things that Louis Theroux had you saying on camera. I'm genuinely curious what you think about the way people have responded to them. Honestly, that's all I care about. I'm not here to trap you. I'm not here to put words in your mouth. I'm not here to do any of that kind of thing. I'm very aware that your fan base, whatever happens between you and I, it doesn't matter. You will have owned me, killed me, crushed me, destroyed me. Let's just accept that's a given. Okay? That is how these interviews always go, whether it's Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, whoever.
Do you know what I don't like, Piers? Do you know what I don't
Myron
like?
Gaines in a minute. It'll be the same thing. So I assume. Let me just tell your followers. Harrison at HS Tiki Toki has owned me, beaten me, defeated me.
Okay, listen. I respect guys that have their own opinions, right? But I don't really respect you trying to come on and say, oh, I'm homophobic and try and really push that point when I wouldn't say I'm homophobic at all.
I understand that, but I'm curious why you don't think disowning a child for being gay is homophobic.
What I do with my children is up to me. What I do with my children is up to me.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
I don't agree with you going to Epstein's Island and having freak-offs with Ghislaine Maxwell and the rest of them. But I don't need to bring it up because this is about misogyny and everything like this.
Harrison,
okay?
Harrison.
Okay, I don't agree with that, sir.
Just to be clear,
freak-offs on the island.
Yes, nor do I.
He brought it now he's got Piers all agitated because he talks about Piers Morgan being in the Epstein files. This is how you switch it on them.
And as is
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Do you want to keep doing this? You'll make yourself look very stupid.
Are you sure, Piers?
That I've never been to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I'm 100% positive. I never met the man, never went to his island. I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch. If you've got any supplementary
mentioned a lot of times.
No
mentioned
problem.
a lot of times in there, sir.
I have no problem. You're not. I don't think. If I say this very respectfully, I don't think you're very well informed about things like that, or you wouldn't go there because it's.
Why are you in the files?
Why don't you check the 27?
Notice that this HS Tiki Toki guy has actually taken over the interview now. Now he's in the question lane because again, like I teach you guys on my course. You have to stay in the question lane with these people. If they're in the question lane, they control. Yeah, they control the conversation. But he switches it now. Now watch how agitated Piers gets. And he's going to say something that's going to really get Piers Morgan angry. Yeah, he's going to say something that's really going to get him angry. Listen carefully.
I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch. If you've got any supplementary
mentioned a lot of times.
No
mentioned
problem.
a lot of times in there, sir.
I have no problem. You're not, I don't think, if I say this very respectfully, I don't think you're very well informed about things like that, or you wouldn't go there because it's.
Why are you in the files?
Why don't you check the 27 references to me in the files?
Why are you in the files, sir? Very close to these types of people.
Go and check. And all your followers, you can. The great thing about the Epstein files, you can put somebody's name in. And you
like to compare me to Tate and Myron and everyone else. So,
Harrison,
because my name is close to them in the manosphere. But if I compare you to Epstein and Maxwell, you have a clear problem with it.
No problem.
Sir, you compare me to Myron and all the others in this homophobic, misogynistic, whatever world. I'm comparing you to Epstein then because you're in his files.
Harrison.
Exactly.
You're making yourself look an even bigger idiot than you did on the Netflix show.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes.
To people like you, sir, I don't mind that. You make yourself look like an idiot every single day when your wife is at home posting pictures that you're out and she wants to get used like a toy by a big black man who's cleaning her car. Is that why you have a problem with me? Is that why you're pushing this homophobic narrative?
Oh my gosh. Now, when he's saying this, family, look at his face, yeah? Look at Piers Morgan's face because what he just said, going back to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, that is their biggest fear. And by the way, I'm going to show you pictures of his wife and how this HS Tiki Toki dude is actually telling the truth. His wife was doing all types of foolishness on Instagram. But listen to what he says and just watch Piers' face when he's saying it.
You're making yourself look an even bigger idiot than you did on the Netflix show.
Oh, really? Really? Yes. To people like you, sir, I don't mind that. You make yourself look like an idiot every single day when your wife is at home posting pictures that you're out and she wants to get used like a toy by a big black man who's cleaning her car. Is that why you have a problem with me? Is that why you're pushing this homophobic narrative? Because I'm the big black man that shagged your wife while you are on holiday. Okay? We can all have a push and a shove, sir. Let's go back to talking about the documentary and less of the homophobia.
Do you know what? Here's what I think about you. I watched the documentary. I think you're a fucking idiot. I think you're a sexist, misogynist, homophobic twerp who got exposed in a global way by Netflix, by Louis Theroux, for what you are. You're a little half-wit, and you'll make your little followers
don't get rattled.
A little laugh
don't get
and everything
rattled.
else. But I don't see any point wasting. There's no point me wasting my time talking to you. Is there? What's the point?
Exactly. No.
when he brought up that big black man thing, because his wife was and has been online for years doing all types of inappropriate stuff, yeah, online, talking about how she wants a pool boy, and she'll be putting up pictures of some melanated guy washing her car, and she'll put up a post saying, when the hubby's away, I will play, or some craziness like that. And this young guy who everyone thinks is stupid, he's online 24/7. He sees that, he's like, oh my gosh, is this the reason why you've got an issue with me? Because I'm the big black man who shags your wife when you're away. And just watch it. I'm going to show you it one more time. He gets so angry, he starts biting his lip. Piers Morgan gets so angry, he starts biting his lip. Watch.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes.
To people like you, sir, I don't mind that. You make yourself look like an idiot every single day when your wife is at home posting pictures that you're out and she wants to get used like a toy by a big black man who's cleaning her car. Is that why you have a problem with me? Is that why you're pushing this homophobic narrative? Because I'm the big black man that shagged your wife while you are on holiday. Okay? We can all have a push and a shove, sir. Let's go back to talking about the documentary and less of the homophobia.
Do you know what? Here's what I think about you. I watched the documentary. I think you're a fucking idiot. I think you're a sexist, misogynist, homophobic twerp who got exposed in a global way by Netflix, by Louis Theroux, for what you are. You're a little half-wit, and you'll make your little followers
don't get rattled.
have a little laugh
Don't get
and everything
rattled.
else. But I don't see any
Don't
point
get rattled.
wasting. There's no point me wasting my time talking to you. Is there? What's the point?
Exactly. No, do you know what? Let's chill it down then, because what I just said, there's 50 more things that we can have a stupid back and forth and try and one up each other.
I don't
just
care
talk
about
to
your
me
silly
normally.
insults.
Talk to me normally.
Talk
Talk to me normally.
I don't care about your silly insults.
But what do you mean you don't care? What do you mean you don't care? What I said is facts. I have a picture of it. I can flip it around and show you right now.
I couldn't care less about your silly little insults. It's like a 2-year-old. Why would I care?
A 2-year-old? A 2-year-old? Listen, sir, I don't know why you come on and you talk like you're holier than thou. As soon as you're away,
all right, let's
who's
end
this?
this.
Applications are open.
All right, let's just
That's your ting, bro. That's your girl.
Let's end this.
Cooked.
You know what? I'm not doing this. Sorry, guys. It's pointless.
He made the expert quit his own show. He made the expert quit his own show. And everyone's getting mad. This guy, I didn't know who he was before this Manosphere documentary, but apparently he's huge on TikTok, hence his name, HS Tiki Toki. Huge on TikTok. Everyone thinks he's an idiot, and he just made the expert quit his own show. Yeah? I've never seen any of these quote-unquote smart people make Piers Morgan quit his own show. Do you understand? And why? Why was Piers so angry? Because this is Piers Morgan's wife. Quote-unquote wife, because I don't know. That don't look like a woman to me, but this is Piers Morgan's wife, yeah? Piers Morgan's wife, and obviously because that went viral, everyone's been talking about Piers Morgan's wife. So everyone started to go onto her Instagram because that's where he got the picture from. So he was putting up this. Piers Morgan's wife has been putting up pictures of her saying that she wants a pool boy and all that sort of stuff. But check this out. This is a picture of somewhat of a melanated man, and her name is Celia, and this is on her Instagram. She says, when the husband's away, Mr. Suds comes to play. So this is Mr. Suds cleaning her car. And she says, hashtag you missed the spot, hashtag everyday sexism, hashtag not an object, but I want to be. Yeah. So she's there lusting after this guy. Yeah. And in the comments, someone said to her, have you ever been tempted to swap the hubby for Mr. Suds? And she replies, never crossed my mind. Now, where's that Pinocchio emoji? Yeah. So this is what she's been doing online. And obviously, HS Tiki Toki, he found it, and he was like to Piers, do you know what? We can all have a push and a shove. In other words, don't go there, bruv. I've got some stuff on you. Don't go there. And I already know. I don't think HS Tiki Toki knows about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing or the replacement theory or the fact that genetic annihilation is their greatest fear. So even when it comes on to them promoting interracial relationships, they won't promote the black male as much. as just promoting the white man with the black woman. He doesn't know any of that stuff, but he knows this will get to him. This will get to him. He turned around and said, "Is that why you got a problem with me? Because I'm the big black man shagging your wife." And you saw how angry Piers Morgan got because that is their greatest fear, fam. That is their greatest fear. To the point where I would have loved to have seen HS Tiki Toki talk to Piers Morgan's wife. If HS Tiki Toki ever done an interview with Piers Morgan's wife, this is how it would go.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, that's awesome. So for you, black guys or white guys?
Black guys.
Can you elaborate as to why specifically black guys?
Yes, black guys are melanated, and I want my children to survive. And I know that the only way for them to survive in the future is for them to have melanin in their skin. So that's a way for me to, make my legacy continue.
Okay, I like that answer. That's actually a really unique answer.
If they're being honest, they all love the elephant. And this is the reason why Piers Morgan got so angry. Why? Because Piers Morgan represents the right side. You get me? HS on the left. It got him so angry. So angry that he had to quit his own show. Because, again, according to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, this is their greatest fear. This is their greatest fear, and they will never admit it. So they had to create a system to hold melanated folks, especially the black man, down. Because they know, and in Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's book, The ISIS Papers, she talks about that's the reason why they love the gun. Who's actually read the ISIS Papers and knows what I'm talking about? Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said that's the reason why they love the gun, the black gun, because the gun represents the elephant. Do you understand? The gun represents the elephant. So that is the reason why they will never relinquish their guns, because the guns kind of evens things out. They're looking at you saying, you've got your big gun. We need a big gun. You've got your big gun. We need a big gun. If we don't have a big gun, you guys will annihilate us. You guys will literally wipe us off of the planet. So we need our big black gun, just like you've got your big black gun. Do you understand? Adrian said, big things are going. You understand? This is their greatest fear. And HS Tiki Toki, the TikTok star who everyone thinks is an idiot, he kind of tapped into it and made one of the experts of this thing walk off his own show because he was so angry. Walk off his own show. Do you understand? Big up to the young youth, man. HS Tiki Toki. He's the only one who I've seen embarrass Piers Morgan on his own show. And he didn't even realize how he did it. He did it by utilizing their greatest fear, which is this: genetic annihilation, the black man, and his big gun. Yeah? And on that note, I'm going to open up the floor for the family. If anyone's got any questions or comments, by all means, you can raise your hand and go live. So raise your hand. Sis Abibola, you can unmute your mic, sis. And then I'll come to the others. You guys put your hand down. Raise your hand again if you raised your hand. Sis Abimbola, you can unmute your mic. Oop. Sorry, try again, sis. And if you got
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, sis.
Hello, Leon. Hello, everybody. Brilliant session on Francis Cress Welsing.
Thank you.
And everything else. I never even thought about annihilation of the group, because why would you be so worried about it when your ancestors have gone into every single country in the world thinking that they are dominant? And this is payback time. It's like karma. You know, why are we in this country as opposed to being in hot countries? Do you know what I mean? And then they're worried about the sun and this, that, and the other. And they have to make comments about COVID on, you know, of course it's going to affect black people and this, that, and the other, because they want us out of the way. Well, you can't have the whole black race out of the way when the populace of Africa, which is not a country, is greater than whatever is in even 2 billion in China. So, you know, even if you had wars between the continents, we would win, you know?
Yeah.
and they can't handle it because we've always got to be subservient to them.
That's
you
it.
know and they think that that's okay.
Exactly.
But the whole thing is, this is payback. If you're worried about reduction in birth rate, then get your people to have more babies. You're so concerned about the Hermes handbag or the not Louis Vuitton, that's the luxury Louboutin shoes, rather than having children. That's your problem. And then okay, you get some whatless woman talking about, oh, I want a melanated man for a husband, or is it for a husband? And when you talk about wealth going into other communities, not ours, I mean, the whole thing is like it's a wake-up call. I'm glad that Harrison did that to Morgan. He needed it because he's such an arrogant SOB anyway.
Exactly.
I never watch. Luckily, I haven't watched TV for 22 years, and I'm glad. I only hear about these things like third party or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is this whole thing with these white supremacists. They have to call themselves supreme because they're not.
Exactly. It's a big projection.
And so they don't do the education. They don't read the books. At least with yourselves, with doing this, because I was at your 2017 class when you did the melanin at South Bank. Excellent. I've followed you ever since, and I've got your book. But the point is, this whole thing about supremacy, where did it come from? It's like Great Britain. What's great about here? All you do is pay mortgages and pay taxes, and that's it.
Exactly.
You don't get any services for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an economist by profession, and I'm now retired, thank God, because I mean, I would not want to be in the work regime now, because all this, LGBTQ, you've got to sign this and all that. No way, no.
Yeah.
And all this that's happening, and then when people come out, people like Denzel Washington and 50 Cent have come out and said, we don't agree with this for children, which is correct.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they just cannot handle the fact that we don't have to keep bleating on about how good we are, because we know we're good. Somebody once, who's no longer a friend, said to me, oh, you should be grateful to be in the country. Now I was born here. Lord. I said to her, who is the immigrant?
Exactly.
Then I went into a verbal diatribe. Really,
sis?
Yeah. I went into a verbal diatribe, and I've never spoken to her since, ever. Oh. Because why are you coming up with these commentaries? You should be, because what they can't handle is they have got nowhere else to go, but we have.
That's a good point.
We can go back. You could go back to. I'm not Caribbean. I'm Nigerian. I can go back to Nigeria, but it's too dangerous at the moment. Exactly. You can go back to the Caribbean.
Yeah. Do you remember?
They can't handle that because we have a choice.
Do you remember watching the Real McCoy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone in the family. Do you remember
Felix
they had that skit in the Real McCoy where they were talking to some white lads and they were like, you can tell us to go back to where we come from, but if we turn around and said to you, go back to where you came from, where would you go back to?
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, sis. Appreciate it, sis. All right. Anyone else, raise your hand. But yeah, good points the sis was making, man. Like, a lot of the times, there was a sis over here that something happened to her with regards to a lady came up to her and asked her, where are you from? And she was like, I'm from here. And she was like, no, where are you really from? Do you remember that? Do you guys remember that story? Where it was a couple years ago, wasn't it? A sis from the community and that. And they said, where are you from? And she was like, I'm from here. And then they were like, no, where are you really from? Where are you really from? And then it made the news and all that sort of stuff. Oh, she was at the palace. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Sister Space. That's it. Thank you. Sister Space. Yeah. So we get it all the time over here. We get it all the time. And you got to think they're looking around now like, what is with all these black and brown people in the UK? It's getting crazy. But you know what's mad though? And this is the reason why I wanted to do, that's the reason why I showed those videos, is because Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says that their greatest fear is the black man just mixing with everyone and erasing them that way. Yeah. And obviously that has happened over the decades and all that sort of stuff. But in my humble opinion, family, again, you guys can state your comments in the chat. In my humble opinion, I don't think that's the reason why their numbers are dwindling. So even though I do agree with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing that their greatest fear is, the black man annihilating them through mixing and that sort of stuff. I don't believe that's the reason why their numbers are dwindling, or it's not the main reason. Like we mentioned in the chat, the food, the sun, the vaccines, all the stuff that is killing everyone is killing them more than everyone. Do you get what I'm saying? It's actually killing them more than everyone. So they're afraid, like Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan's afraid of the big black man, when really you should be more afraid of the sun, rude boy. Because it's not even the big black man that's causing your genetic annihilation. It's the sun, it's the food, it's the vaccines, it's your own people. Do you get me? The usual suspects. It's your own people that are killing you. You're there fearing us, and we're not even doing anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me bring Adrian in. Adrian, you can unmute your mic, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Leon. I just want to say several things outside of tonight's discussion.
Yes.
One, the two pictures of the two statues, the Caucasian one and the black man.
Yeah.
When I look at those two pictures, that's where it hurts them most in the nuts. Yeah? Number two, we beat them. Our ancestors have actually taught them how the basics of hygiene. Yeah. Something they never learned it from the Caucasus Mountains and in and throughout Europe. Yeah, we beat them there as well. And again, referring back to the two photographs, it reminded me of what the lynch mobs had done in America back in the 1800s, right through to today, to this present time, where oh God, they did a film about him, about the about the slave rebellion, Nat Turner.
Yeah.
What I understood after the film, they said that when they caught Nat Turner, they actually not only did they lynch him, but they actually castrated him and they cut off different parts of his body and
That's right.
and shared like relics of his remains, so he has no grave. And they've done the same to several other victims of lynchings as well. So I believe that they are triggered by our presence. They are offended by our, when they have to share the same planet as ourselves.
Yeah.
Not only that, the sun is beating down on them.
Yeah.
And another reason why their numbers is dwindling is because of hate. The hate they have towards us and other races.
Yeah.
What hatred does to you, it causes your body to become inflamed. Inflammation comes, develops, and then the cancer comes, or if not, could be
They're the
stroke
ones
or
that are
heart
dying
attack.
a lot from the cancers. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. And what I've already learned for myself, being around such people, is to nowadays to step away, protect your space, protect your energy.
That's right.
And because it's hatred, as far as I'm concerned. It's a form of self-destruction at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And this is why you're hearing about reports with ICE doing what they've done. They're even turning on their own white people as well. Like when it comes to Alex Pretty and Renee, was it Renee Good or something like that? Yeah, and so on. So yeah, but that's all I'm going to say about it for tonight.
Nice one, bro.
And also, I'm still reading that book, the ISIS papers, on and off, because I'm so
powerful.
Yeah, it is so far. Okay, well,
thank you, bro. Appreciate
you're welcome.
it, man.
Thank you.
Nice one. But yeah, it's true what Adrian was saying with regards to the reason their numbers are dwindling. The hate as well. Yeah, the hate. When it comes onto these diseases, and I've said this before as well, family, when they say black people are more likely to die from this, black people are more likely to die from that, What they don't mention is all the diseases that white people are more likely to die from. So yes, white people are more likely to die from skin cancer. It's tearing them apart. And dementia, Alzheimer's, cancers, and all this sort of stuff. They're a lot of the white dudes, they fear us, the black man, thinking we're having sex with their women or raping their women, and that they fear that genetic annihilation, when really they're just dying from all types of diseases and that sort of stuff, including the sun, skin cancer and that sort of stuff. So they're looking at us thinking we're their greatest threat. And like Yomi said in the chat, he's like, nature is your greatest threat. You don't even need to worry about us. We're cool. You got to worry about nature. Hence the reason why they're always doing things against nature. Yeah. But yeah, big up everyone who stayed right to the end. Let me just tell you about this event that's coming up in 2 weeks' time, family. It's come around so quickly. Hidden Sides of Black Hair. This is something that they envy, by the way. White women envy black women's hair. And it's something that they even study. You talk about Nat Turner and the fact that when they caught him, they kind of scraped his skin off. We're doing experiments with his skin. They do that with our hair as well. There's so much science behind it, and we're going to be dropping some very powerful gems on this day. Yeah. So big up the people that have got their tickets. Remember, family, if you're coming up to the event from London, it makes sense to either stay 1 night or 2 nights in the hotel that we're going to be staying in. So we're going to be staying at Aston Conference, which is only 5 minutes away from the venue. You can book a double bedroom or you can book a twin bedroom. So you can either have this to yourself or share it with a loved one, or twin beds where you and a friend or family member can share it. It makes sense if you're coming from London to spend at least 1 night, because I'm telling you, family, it's going to be a very long day. If you come up by coach on the Saturday, you're gonna have to get the coach from like 9 o'clock in the morning. Then you're gonna get to the venue after 12, maybe 12:30, something to 1. Then the event's gonna be very, very hectic, and there's a lot of information, a lot of stalls. It's gonna go very, very quickly. Then the event might finish 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then you're gonna get into the coach and go all the way back home. You probably won't get home until after 1 o'clock. It makes sense for you guys to just spend 1 night. I'll get Marcia to post the links of those, or just get in contact with Marcia. She'll put her details in the chat. You guys contact Marcia, she'll be able to give you the options with regards to the twin bed and the double bed options for 1 night or 2 nights. So can't wait to see the family out there. Big up all the people that have booked their tickets from Manchester, Birmingham, all that sort of stuff. And then later on in the year, we've got the big one, the Hidden Sights of Reggae. This is the Windrush special. Big up all the people that have got their Reggae Weekender tickets, because you can either just come to the event, which is Saturday the 20th of June from 12 to 8 p.m, plus the after party from 10 p.m. onwards, or you can make it a weekender, which I highly, highly recommend. Join us at the hotel from Friday to Sunday. On Friday, you can enjoy the 5-star facilities, whether it's sauna, steam, jacuzzi, swimming pool, massage therapy, all that sort of stuff. Saturday is going to be a very busy day. Performances, all that sort of stuff, plus the after party. And then on the Sunday, we're chilling, relaxing, yeah? So big up all the people that have got their tickets for this. It's going to be an absolute amazing event. Definitely want to see you guys down there. I want to see the whole family down there for this one. This is the big one.
The Hidden Science of Reggae 2026. What impact has reggae music had on UK culture? Can melanin be activated by the low bass frequencies in roots reggae? Is the Windrush scandal a deliberate attempt to erase the powerful influence of Caribbean culture from British society? And what really happened to Bob Marley whilst he was in exile in London? All will be revealed at the most mind-blowing, historically informative, culturally relevant event of the last decade. The Hidden Science Academy, in collaboration with Hidden Truth and New Initiatives Catering, presents The Hidden Science of Reggae, Saturday the 20th of June 2026, from 12 to 8 p.m. at the Radisson Red Hotel, Heathrow. This event is an unbelievable exploration of reggae music, Caribbean culture. Come and experience an educational conference like no other. Speakers dropping the knowledge on the day include Robin Walker, the Black History Man, Andrew Muhammad, the investigator, Leon Marshall, the scientist, Lady Adele, the Hidden Truth Queen, Culture Mark from Black History Study, and some very special guests. This event is not to be missed. Get your early bird tickets today by visiting theinvestigator.org.uk/reggae, or extend this experience by booking a room at our Reggae Weekender, theinvestigator.org.uk/reggae weekender. Let's celebrate our culture like never before. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today.
Yes, family, event of the year. Big up everyone who stayed right to the end. If this is your first time joining us, this is called Marshall's Melanin Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Big up Germany in the building. I saw you. Big up the family from all over. I saw Canada in the building. Big up, obviously, my London crew. Large up everyone from all over the world that join us each and every week. I really appreciate it. And family, I'd love to see you at these physical events. Do you get what I'm saying? I love doing these online stuff with you guys, but it's always great to see you guys in person as well. So hopefully I get to see the family over the next couple of months. But in the meantime, family, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the rest of your week, and stay blessed. One love.
Genius. If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time.
My name is Leon Marshall, and that concludes the end of this podcast. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. You're a part of history, trust me. And just remember, be the light you seek. Just shine, man. More light, more love, more life. One.
Thanks for listening to Marshall's Melanin Podcast. If you like this episode, share it with your friends and family. To watch previous episodes, search Marshall's Melanin Podcast on YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, follow the scientist at Leon Marshall Online. Tune in next week for another explosive episode. And remember, keep shining.